This is a tutorial on how to build a working web app using Node.js and two online libraries, Express.js and Socket.io. This will work on real time, and it can be used to make online games that are connected and a server host. So I'm going to be using Ripple.it, which is an online IDE that supports 50 plus languages, and it's a pretty good site to use if you're going to code in the web browser. So the first thing you'll do is obviously make a new project. It's going to be in Node.js, and it'll make a word up later. So I'll create a real-time website, sure. Okay, so the first thing on this is going to be to set up the server. So it's in Node.js, and we're going to have to make a HTML file to load onto the client's web, onto the client side. So I'm going to make a folder called client, a file called index.html, and another file for JavaScript on their side, on the client side, which is player.js. So to start off with index.js, what we're going to first put in there is to require those libraries. So to get the libraries that we'll need for the server, it's going to be const express require express, and the socket, which we will get later. But we're going to require fs to send files in, and yeah. So server will be, this will be held on this variable, or this constant, require http and dot server app, right? So last constant here is app equals express. Alright, so to start off, by creating our server, we will need to create the server. So we're going to get app.get express.get get this / and a function which will receive requests, and it will respond to those requests. So in this function, we are going to have to send a file first. So we're going to send the file, their name to start, and the name of our index.html. So it's in client folder, so we're going to start off with the client and index.html. So in index.html, we're going to add a canvas and send everything back to the client. Send everything to the client. So we're going to send them this HTML file right here first to start off with things. Then I'm going to log that there was an express connection when someone requested something. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to do app.use client folder for the client, and express.static. The name is client/client. Okay. So to start with the server, we're going to listen on port 3000. It can be whatever you want, but 3000 is pretty standard port to use. So 3000. And then we can log that the server has started. It's just server start. So if we create in our HTML, we can create whatever. So we'll have the head, the title being real time, why not? And the closing head, the body. We'll put in this is a working website. And closing statement. So if we start it, it should create a package.json file. If it doesn't, then just run this code. And it's just loading. App is not defined. What's wrong here? Const app equals express. Oh yeah, there we go. Has to be above the server. It wasn't in the right order. It's not thinking. There we go. Now we have, this is a working website. We have a real-time website, which we can view, and it'll send this to any person that goes on this website. So now we have just created, using Express and file share, file send, a server on this. So if you're not using it REPL.it or any online, you can just local host 3000. So you can just go there, and that's that. So now that we've created a server, we should get our client working, create a canvas and CSS, and make sure that all the scripts are connected. So in here, body, let's remove this and create a canvas. So canvas ID canvas, and we'll need to attach the player.js script here. So source equals /client /player.js script, yeah, there. And we'll need to download one more library here, not library, but one more script which will connect the Express and the IO files to the player.js file. So there. No, not never mind. So this is script src equals https cdn.socket.io /socket.io .1.4.5.js. Then close that off, and you now have everything you need to make a working canvas in this screen. So in player.js, let's make sure the canvas works by creating a constant canvas, which will connect the HTML, the canvas, and the HTML. Document.get element by ID canvas. So now take the ID canvas from index and bring it into our JavaScript. Now we can make context for this canvas, which will be canvas.get context, two-dimensional, so 2D. This will take the canvas and get the context of 2 dimensions, which is going to be the main thing that we're going to use here, the only thing. So now that we have this in here, let's make sure that this will work, that our canvas works by making cts.fill style, which changes the color that we're going to make, and then fill a rectangle, starting at 0, 0, and going to canvas.width. So I'm going to see if this works, and boom, we have a canvas. It's all black right now, but we're going to fix that later. So we have a canvas now. I want it to fill the whole screen, so we can just go into index.html, add some style, add a style in here, close it off, and we can create our CSS inside of this header file. So what we're first going to want to do is get everything to have overflow hidden, which makes sure that you can't scroll, and padding, border, and margin to 0 pixels, because that's just the border of it. We don't need a border because we're only having a canvas. Then we have this. We're going to make sure, we're going to make it so that our hashtag canvas, or ID canvas, will fill up the whole entire screen. So we can do the width to equal 100 viewport width and height to 100 viewport height. So that's just saying that we want our entire screen here to fill up with this canvas. Now if we run this again, restart, and there. So now we have a canvas that fills up the whole screen. So that's step one of making a real-time game. Alright, so after some revision, I made a typo. It should be .io instead of .it, because I don't know, I'm just not thinking. So now that we have this script connected from index and player, we can go ahead and connect the player to the server. That's step 2, I guess. So to connect them, what we need to do is to make another constant. So let's put it at the top here. Another constant, which will be socket, will equal IO, like that. That's being derived from this script right here. So yeah, now we have everything connected. Great. Alright. So below this, we can create an app or IO another constant called IO, which will be the socket.io. So it will require socket.io, and and it will need another thing after it, server, which will be serve, and some curly brackets there. So socket.io is the thing that is real time. It can send and receive requests from different people on different clients and send a response back to individual clients or all clients at once. So to start that, we have to put sockets.on, which will listen for requests, and it will, when we get a connection, it'll repeat this and loop through here. So we'll need a function, which socket as our thing inside the function, and it'll be an entire function. So now that we have this, we can emit something. We can use sockets or socket dot emit. Okay, so let's say we call it the code. So it's going to emit in here whatever we want. So let's say our code will be, we can have our code or whatever variable you want here as something. So we set var x will equal math.random, and we can send x. We can emit the x to the person that is receiving, that is connected. So this function will be called whenever someone connects to the server. So whenever some client sends a request that they connected, or sends that they connected. So we're going, as soon as they connect, we're going to emit and send them back a response, which will be our code. Now that we have a socket.emit, we need the client to receive this response and do something with it. So we're going to go back into the client section and player.js, go to do socket.on for collecting it, and it'll look for a response that has the code, or has the word string code. So we're going to have to copy this code, or whatever your name is for this socket.emit, which mine is code, and it's going to look for that code, look for that response that has the name code in it. So now that we have this socket.on, or whatever it's called, socket.on, we can make another function with the data in it. So function, it'll have data, and we can take whatever the data is from the socket.emit, so from whatever the server sent to it, and do something with it. So Now that we have it, we can do data.code equals whatever, or no, alright, our y equals data.code. Now we have y, which is going to be the code, or we can call it player code. There you go. So now we have the code that the player sent. Now we can put it into a string, we can log it, we can do whatever. But what I want to do here is to print it out on the screen because we have canvas. So we can take canvas.fill text and PL code. Put it at 100, 100. Or, not canvas, right? Context. And fill it at 100 and 100 to make sure that the color is not the same color as the background. So change the color white. And if we restart it, it's going to print out, not print out, send a random code. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. In index.js, when you're emitting something, don't use these things. Use comma. Or, yeah, comma. Don't. Socket.emit is, like, restricted, so you can only send certain things, and it cannot have this semicolon in the back. So now that we have that, we can send it, restart, because we just got IO. We just needed IO. And there we go. Server started, Express started, and something's wrong. Right. Oh yeah, one more thing. I messed up here. It should have been socket.io dash 1.4.5.js, because I don't know, I'm just not thinking today, aren't I? So make sure that you have that right, because if not, socket equals io is not going to work. So now it should work here and spit out the code, the random code that you got, which it works. So that's good. It has 0. Just whatever random code that index.js will send to the player, to the client. If you open it in a new tab, I can show you it's not going to be the same one for each tab because it sends a different one for each different person. So if we duplicate this, it's a different one because these aren't equal. It's another different one. It's not the same because it's always getting sent by different connections. It's sending it to each individual client instead of each each single everyone. It doesn't send it to everyone. Alright, so okay, so that's cool. Now we have a working server that can send and receive different requests sent by each individual person. So that's only the basics bit. What if we want to make a real-time working game? Like, let's say we want to make a game that works real-time. What you'll need for that is an interval inside the client. So we can make a function that will send data, send code, sure, inside of our index or our server, and we can make an interval. Our interval will equal set interval to send this to send code. We want to make it happen every 10th of a second. Alright, well, we can do that. What we'll need to do is in our server, we'll need to send it, the code, every single second, or every single 10th of a second. So in send code right here, we can take this function, Control C, and send it into our send code. So we can send it once, and then send it again and again. So if we restart this, socket's not defined. Oh yeah, because it has to be io.sockets. Right, because it has to be io.socket because it's outside of this individual chunk of code there. So we'll need to do io.sockets.emit to get it to go. Let's start it. Alright, there. Now you can see it's printing out every code, all the codes, every 10th of a second. But it's doing this. Well, that's pretty dumb because shouldn't do that. We'll need to clear it in player. I forgot to do that. So we need to take this Control C, send it into here, which does the same thing, except it's not there. But we'll need to clear the canvas before we do any of this. Otherwise, it'll draw things on top of each other. So we can just stop here, back, 0, 0, canvas dot away, canvas dot away. Right now you have a working thing that sends different codes every single bit. Wow, that's nice. Okay, so now that you have this isn't scaled. Why is it in the middle there? Well, if we're gonna make a actual game, what we'll need to do is set borders, set things. So I'm gonna change the canvas dot width to 1600 and the canvas dot height to 900. That's a good amount because it's pretty good size ratio, and it's nice. So now we have this, our canvas, 1600 wide, 900 tall. So now that we have this, let's try to make a player. Let's try to make every player on the screen. So we're gonna take another socket. We're gonna send another thing, send data, io.sockets.event players. So now let's try to make, I don't know, a game-ish, a place where players are positioned and we can move them with in real time. So we can send players' positions to, we can send it. So we don't have anything to send in players because we do not have players. So when we get a connection here, we should make a players, we should make a variable players, which is going to be array, and we should send that array players to each single player on everyone. It should send it to everyone that is connected to this website. So if we have this, when we get a new player, we should add to their to the players another nested array. We should make it a array at the player number, because we need player numbers. Their player number, which is going to be 0 for now. Or we should make a player number variable. So we should make a number variable. We need to send a player number 100, because for their x and y value, 100 and 100. That's a pretty good starting point. And we will need to send a number, so we can make player number equal 0 to start off with, and in this chunk here, we can increase the number as we go along. So number plus plus. So now we have an array that we can send, and so we can send to the players, and then they can use that array to draw it out on their screens. Let's see what this would look like with other controllers. Console.log players. Let that change this to players instead of just player. Alright, we can see this. Where am I? Oh yeah, players. It's in Socket Elements. We're going to send players as players. Okay. Players. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you don't need those. We're going to send this player right here, And I forgot, you can't have semicolons. Okay, now that we have this, we're sending it. So, player number 1 is going to be 0, because it starts at 0. But the first player that joins is going to have this. This is going to be their array. That's their location, their player number, and just where in there they are. So if we add another person to this, we can see our console log. We get another connection, and we add another array into this big array. We can send player number 1 because it increases, so they are player number 1, and their location is still 100, 100. If we duplicate this array, we can find that we get another one here, another array for each person that joins. So this works well, as you can send the whole entire array of players, so they can take that and draw it out on their screen, instead of here having to send each individual player every single one, like every what the whole entire screen looks like. We can just send them some data, and then they draw out the data onto the screen, instead of having to send them the entire screen, and then they have to just put that on. So we'll make the client work here. So we do sockets on, get it called player, I think it's called. Forget it's called players. Player. It's player. Call it player, and we'll make it a function with data. We'll get the data and send it off. So now that we have a socket to on, we can take the data and draw it out onto our screen. Let's remove the code for this. Let's actually keep it there. It's worth it works. So we can take our player and draw it out. So now we can see that we have, in our array, we can see that we have each individual player and each individual player, and there's the 3 different parts of data that each player has: their number, their location, their x value, and their y value. So we're going to try to take those values, and we're going to draw it onto the screen. So let's make a for loop first, for var I in players, in data.players, because it's an array. We can take this and draw out where they're on the screen. So okay, so now that we have a for loop with our players, we can use that and take the data inside this and use it to draw it out on the screen. So just to make it easier, let's make a var pl equals data.players of I, and we're going to take the first, or the 0, the first, second, and third. We're going to take the second and third part to draw it out on the screen, so we're going to make a fill style equals, I like red. Red's nice. We can take red and fill the rectangle at 0, or not at 0, at PL of 1, and the Y value would be PL of 2 here. So we have 0, 1, 2. We'll take that, and let's make it 20 by 20. That's nice. Then we're going to draw that out onto the screen. So if we have this, we should restart and see what it does. Wow, now we have a red thing. It's working. It's on the screen there. And that's it. Doesn't move, doesn't change color. It's just a red dot, a red square on this screen. Let's let's move where the player is and make it random. Okay, that's not that hard. So we can send player's position to random by doing plx will equal math dot for math dot random times, not fair, this is times 1600, which is the width, and add 1 to it, so it's going to be anywhere from 1600 to 1 to 6, anywhere from 1 to 1600. So now that we have that, We can make y as well. Forgot about that. Y random times 900 for the height, and add 1. Then we have a random number. We don't need to add 1 actually, because it's going to be throughout the entire screen. So now that we have a random pixel on this screen, we can put it into the player. So PLX and PLY. So we can restart this and see what it does. So for player 1, we have it here. Now let's make another player. Player 2, it's there. Wow. Now we have another player. Player 3, it's right there. And we can see that this is real time. It's working between all 3 of our players. If we duplicate this, it's going to keep doing it. It's going to keep making more players and setting it to each client. So what's actually happening here is that all the data here on the screen is getting sent to us every 10th of a second. So every single 10th of a second, we are getting a new code, and the locations and numbers of all of these players on the screen, and we're drawing them out. So let's try to add movement. Movement's nice. It allows you to go forward and backwards, and it works. So it's pretty nice to have if you're going to have a game. You don't want the player to just stand there and do nothing. So we can have a socket.emit. Here we can send data from our player to our server, and then that server will take the data and use it to change the data inside the player. So what we'll have here is, what we first want to do is tell the player which one he is. Like, if you're on here, which number are you? Are you 0, 1, 2, or 3? So we want to tell the client that what we are, or which one we are. So we can send the number through the first thing that happens. So we can send the number there. So number equals number. We also have to have a comma here because we're having multiple things. So now we have now in our code, we're having the player code and the number. So we should, in player, get the number, number equals data.number. So we can log not just this, but our number. We can see what number we are at all times. But that does not work. So undefined is our number, because it's sending multiple times. Sending code multiple times, we do not want that. We should only send the code at once. So I'm going to remove all of this, and we're just going to get one person here. So now if we join, we can see that our code is 1. This person's code here is 0, and here it's 2. So it works. It works well, and it's perfectly fine how it is. I'm going to enlarge the font because it's kind of small. So 1 second. ctx.font is going to equal 20, 30, 36 pixels. Set UI, second equals a nice font. And then we have that. It's like Saturdays. Now we have this here, and we can join here and see that we have our number, it's bigger, and our player number right here. So we have our player number and whatever code. We don't need the code anymore, so we can just remove code. So I'm just going to remove this because we don't need it. We don't need code. It was just to show. And remove code from here because we do not have code anymore. So now it's just sending our player number. Only our player number. So we have 0 as this player's number, 1 right here. Make another one, 2. This is going to be our player number 2. Now let's unmove it. Okay. So to add movement, we already know what player we are. We know which number we are. So we're going to take that number and send it to the index, or index.js, which is the server. We're going to send it to the server, and the server is going to take the number and what your directions were, and alter your player X and player Y. So let's make a socket dot image file, or it's like a function actually. Let's go down here. Function movement will send socket.init, we called movement, and we're going to send it to each player. Okay, so we are going to take this and we're going to emit whatever the x and the y are. So in this function movement, we're going to emit x as x, or variable x, and y as the y. So what I want to do is make it so that x moving forward is just 1, or it's either 1 or it's going to be 0 or -1. It's either 1, 0, or -1 for going forward or going right, or for going right, not going right or left, or going left. And the same for the y, up, down, and not moving at all. So what I want to have is a way to get where you're going, or get whatever you're clicking. So we can add a event listener, document.add event listener, that will look for whatever you do. So when I do key down, going to have a function e, and going to call movement for whatever e is. So whatever I have e as, it's going to send it into here as e. So we can make a switch case here. So we can make a switch of variable, or of e, and case. Oh, no. So we're gonna change it to e.keycode, because yeah, or e is e.keycode. Yeah. So when you're having a add event listener with key down, it's e and the key code of e. So it's going to be whatever the ASCII is of that key, or ASCII, or I don't know what to say. But I'm going to take the code of that key. There's a tool you can use on some website, the W3 website, that tells you so key codes. So you can search up key codes, JavaScript event key codes. Here's another one. This guy's. So we can press any one. What I'm going to try to do is W, A, S, and D. So I'm going to do W first, which is 87. So we're going to send it to this case 87. So that means if E is 87, then we're going to, so W would make Y go forward. So Y is, so no, if you're having a graph with 0 at the top, we're going to actually would make it go backwards. Yeah. I'm going to break it. Case, what is S? S is 83. So we're going to have case 83, which is going to make Y go up, break that. Case A and D. So we're going to have 65. And what A will do is A is going to go left, so it's going to subtract X. So X minus, break, and case 67. I'm pretty sure. Yes, 67. Which is going to go forward or right. And break that, and then default is nothing. So now that we have this, we can set variable x equal to 0, variable y, oh yeah, y equals 0, and so I'm going to put this into our movement. It's going to send, forgot, you can't have that. It's going to send this to the server is going to pick it up, and it's going to change your number. It should also send is a player number, so, there. Okay, so, now that we have movement, io.sockets dots, we can have a socket on here. Connection, so we have another socket connection, io.sockets dots on. If you get the word or movement, or no, it should be individual person. So in this big chunk of code here, it should have a socket dot on, and it should be what's it called? Movement, yeah, movement. Into this function here. So now that we have function, it should be function data, yeah, function data. So now we have data.pl member. So we're going to change the PL. So if we have this right here, this code or this line here, and take the PL number and run it into this one. So let's say a PL number was 1, we go to the first, or go to number 1, array part 1. We're going to change this second and third value here, so 1 and 2. We're going to change those values, and we're going to manipulate those to whatever their speed is. So we can set a variable speed equal 5. 5's pretty big, I guess. I don't know. Data.pl number. Oh wait, what does it say? PL number is set data.pl number to we're not going to set it, we're going to take it into players. So players of PL number of 2 or of 1, which is going to be the second number here, of 1 will plus equal x times speed. So now we have x of speed. Now that we have that, we can move left and right. And then players PL number of 2, which is this third one, is going to plus equal data.y times the speed. So now it's going to change those values, and we can try it. Okay, it doesn't work. Let me think. Okay, so in here we're sending movement e.keycode to this switching case e. So it's movement here, and we're setting PL number to this and this. So we should log it once we get the thing. So let's log it, sure. Let's go log PL number x. Ah, there, that's why I don't have a data.pl number. I'm getting that there. Data.pl number. Let's restart, see what happens. Of course it doesn't work again. Let's log it. Data.pl number, data.x, and data.y. So it looks like it's not sending. So if we go here, you should see that it is sending. I don't know what's wrong, but it's socket.emit is on. Socket.emit, yeah. It's emitting the PL number, the X and the Y. So I guess movement is not getting called adding an event listener is E. It's going to e.keycode. Log dot keycode. And then we'll have to go into a new browser because it doesn't work here. Select elements. Let's see that. And let's look at the console. PL number is not defined. Okay. So we find that the PL number is not defined in here. Because PL number is not in there. That makes sense. Okay, so PL number is a local variable in this thing. So we should set it to a variable that is not a global variable. And change this. Okay, so now if we restart this, we can see that this is working here. And it is working. That is good. That is very good. So now you see that there's movement. Okay, but what's happening is it's not clearing the rectangle before we do that, so we should change that. Code, clear, rect, 0, canvas, and players, clear rectangle. Let's do clear rectangle, 0, 0, width, canvas.height. And in this bit, everything is going to have to be set. So the code is going to have to move over into this spot. So you can change that, because that's not a big deal. X. And there. That's it. Okay, so if we move this now, you see that we do have movement. And that's very good. Don't have great movement, I don't know why. Oh, 68 instead of 67 for extra shot. So now we have movement, so it's pretty good. We have a moving, we have a moving person that will move around, moving player that will move around at whatever you move it to with WSD. So that's gonna be it for this tutorial. I might make another one about improving this and making it better, making detections, making collisions and everything. So thanks for watching and see you later.